Hello. It's been a minute. My name is Aether, and I actually recorded a video a few days ago, and it was a pretty good, lengthy video, 22 minutes, and I think 18 seconds or something, without any cuts. And I guess I'm kind of re-recording it in a way, even though I don't like re-recording videos. I try to make my whole thing to be recording it as I feel it, so that it's as authentic as possible. But as I was watching back the video, I felt like I was fluffing things up a little too much, fluffing up how I was feeling, and excuse me, fluffing up exactly what I mean to say. In my previous video, I talked about and sobbed about a breakup that I went through. And I think that was the first breakup. Do as I say, not as I do. I took him back and I went through it a second time, and obviously I got broken up with again. And I don't regret taking him back the first time. I think sharing an intimate relationship like that with a person it's definitely something you don't really get all the time. And I think our relationship was very complicated. I wish I could talk about it without it seeming like a drama type thing, but I really did enjoy the relationship. And in the video I had recorded, the way I spoke about it was me being I don't really care, it's whatever. But I think with the nature of this channel and the nature of the videos I make, that's not true. I know that's not true. It's a lot different than I expected. For context, I've only ever been in 2 relationships. The first relationship I was in lasted me 6 years, and I was the one that initiated the breakup. The second one, this one currently that I'm talking about, lasted an inconglomerate amount of time. It was a bit messy, but the part that counts is 4 months. I know. But those 4 months were something that I really could not describe. It meant a lot more to me than I thought it would mean. I thought that it was 4 months in the grand scheme of things, you really look at it and it's not really a lot of time. But I think that it was something I never really felt before. And I don't mean that to put off my 6-year relationship. I just mean I had a lot more in common with my 6-year relationship than I did with this relationship. And I think that difference is what really set it apart. Because when you're so similar to someone, it feels like you know exactly what they're thinking. You know what I mean? But when you're with someone who's so different from you, it literally feels like a puzzle or a maze. And I feel like if I had more time in the relationship, I definitely probably could have gotten to know him to the point where I did the first relationship, but it never got to that point. And I don't know if it ever will, but I would be a liar if I said I didn't wish for it to happen again. And that's not a good thing for me to say, and I know that's not a good thing for me to say, and I know that this is the kind of thing where, 2 times, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me, clear my hands, let me move on. But I guess I just feel like I feel emotions really, really weirdly. I think especially with this breakup, I have been feeling a lot of new feelings. I've been feeling a lot of intense feelings. I have been feeling a lot of things that I sometimes feel uncomfortable talking about with certain people, even those who are closest to me, because I'm afraid of the judgment, and I'm afraid of the, what ifs, and I'm afraid of the consequences, I guess. But I did start thinking about it a lot, but I feel like only recently have I really started to come to terms with how I've been feeling because of 2 nights ago, I believe. I wasn't aware how much a breakup feels like grieving a person. And I've been getting better over time. It's been about a month since it initially happened. And it was definitely a rough one, but it wasn't, I would say it's not as bad as what could happen, like in the future. Which I don't say that to denote or demean my feelings. I guess I just say that as like a, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought type thing. But, recently I was going through my nightly routines. I was going to bed and, scrolling on my phone, which I obviously should not have been. But I was just scrolling on my phone, I was scrolling on TikTok, and I was like, oh, it's really late. It's like 12, like late 12, early 1 a.m. I should get to bed soon. And I swiped upon a video, and it was a baking video. And in the background of the video, the song Fade Into You by Mazzy Star was playing, which, not a niche song, I would say. I feel like if you've heard Mazzy Star, your introduction to her was probably Fade Into You. But the song meant a lot to me, and it still means a lot to me, but I mean in the sense of the relationship. I really connected that song to my relationship. And, whether that's like a good thing or a bad thing, I don't think it matters. All I know is that it really meant a lot to me. And when I heard that song start playing, I just felt like a rush of emotions all over again. It was like the moment I finally felt like it didn't matter as much as I thought it would, it all just came rushing back to me, and I just started crying. And I was crying and I was sobbing, and it took me hours to get back into a place in which I could fall asleep. And actually, this is my journal. This is what I use to write any and all of my thoughts in. I use YouTube as a journal as well, but I feel like in a different way. Not in the same way. I wouldn't tell you everything I've written in here, and I'm definitely not reading what I've written in here. But I've been trying to practice writing down how I've been feeling rather than telling other people or posting it on social media and whatnot. Sometimes a few things slip through the cracks. Oops. But I think I've been doing better. But even writing down how I was feeling, I really felt like I could not get over this feeling. Like my heart was like disrupted or disturbed in a way. And I started playing the song on loop. And I kept listening to the song over and over, and I kept listening to the lyrics, and just, there are so many lyrics in that song that really, really speak to me in a more melancholy sort of way. Like off the top of my head, off the top of my head, let me think right now. I look to you and I feel nothing, or I look to you and I see nothing. I look to you and I see the truth. Oh, and there's another one I actually wrote in here. Hold on. That also meant a lot to me, but that lyric specifically, or that set of lyrics, I feel like really shows off or kind of displays how I feel about it, about the relationship. Not about the relationship, but about the breakup. I feel like, there's no point in me looking at photos of him or text messages of him, because I know when I look at it, I see nothing. You know, I see what once was, and all the love I have received, I keep in my heart, and I don't see that love as a waste. I never can see love as a waste. That kind of emotional part of me, I feel like it is always going to stick with me, you know? I'm a very overly I'm a very overly emotional person. Um and it's not something I can help by any means. Um but it also, I think it helps me in a good and a bad way. So, you know, all the love I have ever given or received, I really keep it in my heart. But it's like, I feel like knowing what I went through, which, I mean, I wouldn't describe what I went through as anything too crazy. It's not like I went through any sort of abuse or anything by any of those means. I think I just, you know, you get disrespected from time to time. You get treated a certain way that really makes you question how that person sees you. And, you know, you look at them and you know, I feel nothing. I feel hurt and I feel pain, but I don't feel, it's even hard to say. I literally cannot tell you I don't look at him and I don't see the love that I felt before, because I absolutely do. And that's very unfortunate. And I'm sure that with time I'll eventually get over it. But it's very difficult. But I do know that, you know, reminiscing on the good, it wasn't all good. It's impossible to look back on a relationship and think, no, it was great all the time. That's why we broke up. That's why it never worked out, because it was just too good. It's not possible. So it's like, you know, looking back, I see the truth. I know what I know. And no matter how hard I tried to convince myself that, oh no, it really wasn't that bad. Oh, you know, maybe I could have gotten over it. I do know, I know the truth. I know what I know, and I know that I can't forget that, and I can't just get over that like it was nothing. But the other lyric is, I think it's strange you never knew, and I feel like that lyric is very broad, but it was one of those situations in which I feel like I saw the shit that was going on. I saw the things he would do, the ways he would treat himself, the way that leaked into how he would treat me. You know, I saw the way that he would treat other people. And I'm not saying it's explicitly like, oh, he was an asshole, because it's not like that. It's obviously, I think everything is incredibly nuanced. And I feel like, especially in this situation, everything is incredibly nuanced. But, like, I was never able to stop kind of looking at those certain things and being like, I find it to be very interesting that he did not recognize that something was wrong. And maybe he did recognize that something was wrong, and maybe he just never told me. And I think that's the strangest part. I think that was my least favorite part. I think that he probably knew a lot more than he let on about himself and about how that leaked into us. And I feel like maybe that scared him. And, you know, breaking up with me was kind of his way of pushing that all away. And I don't want to say protecting me, because it's hard to convince myself that this was like the best outcome, or like the only thing that could happen. I obviously, I don't believe that all options were exhausted. I think that he took a very childish way out, and I think my upset for that is never going to be erased, you know. And after he had broken up with me, about 2 weeks later, he had texted me asking if I wanted to talk about it. I had been begging him to talk about what was wrong, why he wanted to break up with me, why he was doing this while it happened. You know, when he first did it, I said, like, please, please just talk to me. Just tell me what is going on. Just let me know what I can do or what we can do to change things or fix things. And it was always, in response, he would just say, like, I don't think it's something that can be discussed. I don't think it's something that can be fixed. And that was incredibly painful. And thinking back to that, it really, really pains me. I low-key could cry about it right now if I'm feeling up to it. Can you imagine? Second video in a row where I'm crying about this fucking man? No. But it was very hurtful to me. And I continued to beg for it. And he just kept hitting me with, I don't think it can be talked about. I don't think it can be discussed. Like, I'm not sure how much that'll help. And I feel like after that, I was just like, okay. Obviously, there's nothing I can do to change your mind. I have, you know, I know what I want to do. But if you don't want to do it, I can't force you. And I remember at the end of the conversation, I just said, okay. Because there was nothing I could do at that point. And that was how it ended. A while later, we exchanged items. He'd come over, and I put all of his things in a big box. And I meant everything, anything I made him, anything he gave me, you know, things he let me keep, basic necessities, I just threw it all in a box. I even, flowers he had given me for Valentine's Day, I put that shit in a box, you know, and I was ready, and I had it there, and he came into my garage. I remember it was raining, and before he came up, I was looking for an umbrella for him. But I guess he was so desperate to just get in and get out that he just went into my garage. Crazy rain, sopping wet, just went in there. I hand him his box. He hands me my clothes, and I told him one last time. I said, "Do you want to talk about it?" He didn't even tell me no. He just. And I had never been more angry in my life. And I just, you know, it was same thing as the end of the conversation last time. I just, okay. Obviously, I can't change your mind. Obviously, you know, I don't know if this was, what we had was worth enough to change your mind. And I can't keep begging. And I went back into my house, and I have a window on a wall over here that takes a look outside in my front yard. And with that front yard view, I'm able to see my driveway. And I remember so clearly seeing him in his car, looking through the box of the things that I had given him. And I could see it just in his movements of how much it affected him and how upset he was. And I remember saying out loud, I said, if you care, you're going to text me and you're going to say, no, let's talk about this. And I was just begging and begging in my room. I said, please, if you care about us, if you care about this relationship, you're going to tell me to come outside so we can talk about things. And then I watched him pull out of my driveway, and he stopped in front of my house, and he sat there for a minute. And I said, if you care, you're going to get on your phone. You're going to park back in my driveway, and you are going to ask me to talk about it. And he left. And he didn't talk about it. Not until 2 weeks later. In 2 weeks, he texted me again asking, hey, would you be willing to talk about things? And as much as it hurt, and as much as I wanted to run back and say, yes, oh my God, finally. Oh. As much as I wanted to just be like, yes, oh my God, finally, I've been waiting for this. I also have the right mind to know that if this is the second time this has happened, if my begging was not enough for him to want to talk to me about it the first time, what's the point in doing it again? And I texted him back and I said, not if you think we're getting back together. And I wish I took a little bit more time to respond back. Not because, see, I don't know, this is one of those things. I'm telling you all of the bad things, all of the things in which he has mistreated me, and I'm telling you I didn't deserve that. No one deserves that, you know? And yet in the back of my head, I'm still thinking, maybe I could have made it work. Maybe I should, you know, text him back a month later saying, hey, you know, is this still an open offer? Is this still something that you believe is worth it? And I think that's really what I've been battling the most. And that's why I'm re-recording the video, like I said earlier. Because in that original video, I just kept having this, like, I don't care, I don't give a fuck attitude, like, he missed me and he lost me and he lost his chance, blah, blah, blah. But I know that there is still part of me very, very deep down that knows that it is too difficult to reject that love and to not want that back again. And there are moments when I'm awake and I'm up and I'm doing things and I'm on my own in which I'm like, you know, in which I'm okay with it. I listen to the songs telling me that I should never be mistreated and that if I was mistreated, he was never the one for me, and I'm agreeing and I'm singing along and I'm being like, yeah, who cares, fuck that guy. But, you know, after the sun goes down and you see the moon in the sky, you know, you just can't help but think what could have happened, you know, what could have been done. And sometimes I do still really want to talk to him. And I feel like that's a disservice to myself, but for some reason, I don't know what I would do if he texted me again, or if he asked to talk to me again. I can't sit here confidently and tell you, fuck that guy, I would never do that again. And I think a part of why I find it so difficult is because I am a lonely person. I have friends, but I have the amount of friends that you could count on your fingers. I don't have, you know, my phone blowing up every day, everyone asking me to hang out, everyone asking me to do stuff. I don't have the kind of social media where everyone cares about what you're posting and what you're gonna do next. I am a very on my own kind of person. And I think dealing with that and being like that is a big reason why I feel like I want him back so badly. Because it's not just, oh, a person left my life, dang, that sucks. That's, oh, an important person has left my life and I don't have a replacement for it, or I don't have a fill-in, and I can't just go outside and go out of my way to just like find someone new to replace that feeling and that person. And it really, really sucks. And I know there are many fish in the sea, and you know, I'm sure I can find someone better and all these things. I have been told that many times by the, like, what, 3 friends that I have, or the few people I have, you know, privately confided in about this. I'm very, very well aware of that. And that is something I'm very excited about, you know, especially given that I am not sure I'll be in this house next year. I'm in college, and I'm in a community college now, and I should be going to university hopefully by next semester. But, you know, I know that there's more opportunities to meet more people. I know that I will be finding more romantic interests, and I'll learn more about myself and more about what I look for in other people and all of these things. But I think sitting with the loneliness now is so incredibly difficult. And it's something that I really, really would not wish upon anyone else. And I'm trying to cut bad habits out and trying not to let it get to me to a point where I need to start performing harmful acts onto myself. But, I would be lying if I didn't tell you that in that last video, I lit up a cigarette with a lighter that he had given me. And, it makes me feel very guilty because I did used to smoke, and I would say I don't smoke anymore. But it's definitely been seeping through the cracks again, which I do not condone smoking. Please do not do anything harmful like that onto yourself. If you're going through a bad time, I understand that things are very, very difficult, and I am a hypocrite for saying it, but it's not a proper escape. I think I'm just kind of at a wall where I feel like I don't know what to do anymore. I don't have someone who understands my every thought, or who I believe understands my every thought. And having friends is one thing, but having somebody who knows you so deeply, intimately, who knows you so intimately, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally, and somebody who steps up to that plate to be there for you, it's a different kind of relationship as a whole. And, I have had my friends tell me that, I shouldn't talk to him again, that I would just follow back into that same cycle. And I do believe them, and I do understand them, but I also wonder if maybe I yearn for the cycle. And that's not a healthy way of thinking, and I know that, but I can't stop thinking about it. I had somebody comment on my last video, actually. I didn't notice their comment until now because I had kind of not forgotten about the channel, but I had just been going through so much, like piling on top, to a point where I was so unstable that I literally could not make a video about it because it would be a fucking mess. Like, if you thought my last video of me sobbing and crying was a mess, oh my god, that would have been terrible if I did it while it was happening. But they had asked me how I felt, now, after everything had happened. I believe the comment was left a month ago, and obviously a month ago is when I got broken up with for the second time, and I replied to them just today saying, just essentially like, I feel really bad. I can't stop feeling bad. And the only thing that's really getting me up and getting me going is the fact that I know it's not always going to be bad. And I'm not the type of person to be so positive and happy all of the time, and knowing, oh yeah, it's really bad now, but it's gonna get better, and I just have to work towards that. I'm very prone to being depressed, to being sad, to being miserable, to getting to a point where it's not good for myself. So, replying to that comment, saying those things, I believe them, of course. I know it's going to get better. I know that this is not permanent. This is obviously it's just a phase. Whether I do or do not decide to get back with him, it's a mystery. It truly, truly is a mystery. I know that, there's things out there waiting for me. There are good opportunities or bad opportunities. There are new people who will either positively affect my life, negatively affect my life. Maybe I'll have someone, and I'll meet someone, I'll be with someone who is worse than him or better than him. It's all just a game of chance at the end of the day. But I do find it very difficult not to get stuck in the cycle of it's bad, therefore it'll be bad all of the time. And I wanted to say that because I want it to be known that you are not the only person that feels that way. I feel like a lot of people get scared when they're not you know, they don't have a perfect mentality when it comes to these things. Because I will definitely say I did definitely try to come off like I have a perfect mentality, and that's why I really did not like that previous video, because I was talking about the breakup like it didn't affect me at all, or like, yeah, it did affect me, but I don't really care anymore. Because obviously I care about it a lot. I think about it a lot. You know, I let it fester when I shouldn't. Sometimes I forget about it, and then the smallest thing just sends me off the rails again. And it will literally be the smallest things, like that TikTok, like, sent me off the rails. I press shuffle on Ethel Cain's discography. Dust Bowl starts playing. Oh, well, you know, it's over and done with because I associated that song with him. Even worse, Amber Waves starts playing. Guess what? That song was on loop the night that we were parked in front of his apartment when he was confessing his feelings to me. I had that shit on loop. So, you know, there's a lot of things that bring me back to that moment, that bring me back to the bad, that make me feel like it'll never get better. And honestly, if you're asking, how do I get out of that cycle? I don't really have a foolproof way. And I don't mean it in a way that's like me being useless. I mean it more so in a way of, I don't think we're supposed to have things figured out. And I feel like even if I did have things figured out, I couldn't tell you, you know, the perfect foolproof plan, how to get over your ex, easy mode, no going back, no contact, because I don't even know how to do it myself. And maybe it's from an experience, maybe it's from me being too emotional, being too attached to this, to that, but, you know, eventually, when I do get over it, when I stop thinking about it, when I'm at a new place in time where I'm with a new guy, when I meet new people, I'm out with old friends and new friends, and I don't remember his name anymore, hopefully, or not hopefully, I'll let you know what got me through it. But for now, I let it get bad sometimes. And I know I shouldn't, but it is what it is, right? I appreciate you for watching the video all the way through, if you did watch it all the way through. I do want to start trying to post more, because my whole thing was like, oh, I'll only post when I'm feeling a certain type of way. I'll only post when it's authentic too. But I do want to make more videos that are more than just this. Not saying that I would never do this again, but like, I live a very mediocre life, and I feel like life right now online is jazzed up to be, here's this crazy thing I did, here's me going to that place, whoa. I want to show people that, you know, you can make videos like this, you can be an influencer or a fucking literally anything, and you can live a very mediocre life. It doesn't have to be exciting all the time. So, you know, maybe I'll do a little bit more, maybe, if I remember, that is. But, yeah. I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you for watching this video. I hope that you found a little bit of relatability into it. I know this is definitely a longer video. But I think I just had a lot to say, because feelings are very convoluted. And I want you to know that it's okay for your feelings to be convoluted. It's okay to miss it. It's okay to, you know, go every which way. If I sat here and told you I never switched up on how I felt, I would be a liar. But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.